Just when you thought you'd seen the most explosive moments on TV, this one blows everything else out of the water. In this unforgettable video, a debate that started off tense spirals into absolute chaos. What was meant to be a simple discussion quickly turns into a battlefield of words, rage, and shocking actions caught entirely on camera. From the first few minutes, the energy in the room starts to shift. You can feel it. You can see it in their eyes. And then it all erupts. Chairs are thrown. People are screaming. Security can't contain the madness. And then something happens that no one in the room expected. Something so outrageous that it left everyone speechless. Even the hosts. This isn't just another viral moment. It's the kind of raw, unfiltered drama that people will be talking about for weeks. If you think you've seen it all, trust us, you haven't. Watch to the very end. What happens in the final minutes will leave you absolutely stunned. Well, it all started when this migrant was invited on live television to talk about immigration. At first, the debate was going surprisingly well, calm, civil, even insightful. The panel seemed to be heading toward a respectful exchange of ideas. But then she said this.
Emotional kind of language out of it. This is a numbers game. This is an issue with the number of people who are coming here on small boats, risking life and limb for themselves, their children, often with nothing to go back to, coming from absolutely obliterated. Have we ever stopped to question why we have so many people trying to come to the UK? Is the world a safer place than when Keir Starmer took office? Is it a more volatile place? What's happening in those countries to ensure that people don't actually make the perilous, or I've made that journey, I know what that's like, to risk everything, the safety of your family, your life itself.
Did she really just say that? Without realizing it, she crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. The atmosphere shifts from heated to explosive in seconds. What was meant to be a general discussion about immigration suddenly becomes personal. Too personal. She exposed herself, not just to public criticism, but to real consequences that she clearly didn't anticipate.
If we set aside the fact that these aren't just people and just look at the hard numbers, the Illegal Migration Act will give more powers to control the borders, to enforce laws, moreover, to return people who come by illegal means, which I'm actually dubious whether that's even legal under international law. Say we get all of that in place. It's not going to stop people from coming. It's not going to stop people from coming. The question here at hand, if we take away the flowery language, is what do we do with them once they're here? We process them, we decide whether they can stay or leave. For the last 14 years, it was obvious that the previous government did not care about the migrants coming in or processing them. All they wanted to do was to have something, a battering ram, something to have over the British public. So whenever the government went into disarray, they had something to point at and went, look over there, there's some illegals. More importantly, and this is really, you must take into consideration the fact that for many of the people coming into this country, including Afghanistan, where I'm from, there are no legal routes. You have made every route illegal by making it no legal routes.
Do you know what? It is a numbers game. It costs this country millions of pounds a week. We have a small island where the population is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We can't fit so many people in. We don't have an infrastructure.
We do not have enough people of working age in this country. One of the biggest problems we're going to face in the next 10 years is the fact that we have more old people who are out of work than young people who can work. I'm not saying that the solution to this is to allow more boats in. What I'm saying is let's be proportional and realistic with what we're talking about. But one more thing, and this is really important to us. When a migrant, a refugee from Afghanistan, Albania, from Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, comes over here, they're not thinking about the $1 million sign on top of their forehead to the taxpayer.
Now it's painfully clear. The host is losing his patience. You can see the irritation all over his face. He cuts her off mid-sentence, not to steer the conversation, but just to stop her from saying one more outrageous thing, but what unfolds is absolutely total drama.
Absolute waffle. As many calls as we can on this. Anne is in West Yorkshire. What do you think, Anne, is Keir Starmer, is Yvette Cooper? Are they failing to deal with this problem?
absolutely failing, for being far too soft on the problem, and that's why everyone is voting for Nigel Farage, and he's so popular now because people know he will do something about it, and they ought to be taking a hard line like Australia and doing it properly.
Okay, so what are you suggesting? What is he suggesting that you agree with would be the answer to this problem?
Well, I think just to take the Australian attitude towards it and deal with it like the Australians do and be a bit hardliner. Well, I'm not saying that there should be no refugees.
Specifically what, though, Anne? What do you do with them when they reach the shores of the United Kingdom?
Well, as I have already said, I think they should be dealt with a little bit more harshly.
You're not actually saying
return back to the countries they have come from if they come here illegally, and they're not being returned in the numbers that they're coming in.
Okay, one of the statistics I saw looking through this, Nellifer, is about a quarter of returns to countries are actually enforced. Is that enough?
Then she takes a wild turn, claiming that immigrants only come to the UK out of fear for their lives, that they're all running from danger. But let's be real, she completely misses the point. Everyone's trying to survive. Everyone's out here chasing that daily bread. It's not just about fear, it's about opportunity. If it was purely about safety, there are plenty of other countries they could flee to, closer, safer, more accessible. But they choose the UK. Why? Because deep down, they know it offers something more. Stability, benefits, a chance to rebuild, not just survive, but thrive. So when she paints it like it's all just about fear and danger, people in the room start shifting. You can feel the energy change. Like, are we really supposed to believe that's the only reason? She's not wrong for wanting a better life, but she's wrong for pretending that's not the reason most people make that journey. And from that moment on, the debate takes a whole new direction.
Serving the refugees and the migrants who are coming here as at all, and we're not serving taxpayers. Nobody is winning in this situation. A refugee who comes to this country doesn't want to be in a detention centre or locked up or cooped up as much as anyone else does, and we pay for that. What I'm trying to say, the Australian method is interesting, Anne, because Australia is genuinely an island in the middle of nowhere, very hard to get to, unlike the UK, which has got many neighbouring countries. We have people trying to get over from France, we have people trying to get over from Morocco, from Libya. We've got a much more vulnerable coast.
Yapping, completely losing the plot. She starts throwing out examples, talking about immigrants coming from places like Morocco or even France and Spain. And at that point, everyone's just looking at each other like, wait, what? Because now she's contradicting herself in real time. First, it was all about fleeing danger. Now she's listing countries that are literally not war zones. Countries with beaches, tourists, and functioning governments. Like, come on, you're not escaping bullets in Barcelona. It's wild how quickly she derails her own argument. Everything she said at the start about fear, survival, running for their lives, it's unravelling, and she's doing it all herself. Just rambling on, making less and less sense by the second. At this point, it's not even a debate anymore. It's damage control. And spoiler alert, she's losing that too. Anyway, that's my take. Her whole argument just crumbled right there. From blaming history to ignoring the real reasons people migrate, it was all over the place. And honestly, it just sounded like nonsense. But hey, I'm just giving you my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think about all this. Was she speaking facts or just chatting for the sake of it? If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.